Welcome back to day 25 of the 100 horror films in 31 days. I got in four films today. First up is Triangle 2009, directed by Christopher Smith and stars Melissa George, who's an Australian actress. She was also in 30 Days of Night. She plays this girl that keeps going through a doppelganger Groundhog Day type experience on a yacht. And you don't know whether it's real or whether it's her fantasy or those type of things. But it's a tense film, well acted. It's just not my cup of tea. I find the repetition of scenes tedious. I don't like Happy Death Day. I definitely didn't like Happy Death Day 2. That was even worse. And I don't like. I guess I just don't like these Groundhog Day doppelganger movies very much. I know people like this one. This one is a film that a lot of people enjoy, but not my cup of tea. I give it a 6 out of 10. Next up is a film I really love, and that is 1996's Ebola Syndrome. This is a Category 3 Hong Kong film. If you don't know about Category 3, that's the ratings classification that says no one under 18 allowed. Basically, kind of an X certificate. Directed by Herman Yao. This is a crazy movie. Anthony Wong, who also talks about, I'm going to talk about him in another film, The Untold Story. He is fantastic in this. He plays this restaurant employee that kills his boss and escapes to South Africa to try to, I guess, try to get away from being convicted for it or caught. He ends up continuing his escapades, and long story short, he rapes this woman in Africa that has the Ebola syndrome, and he ends up being one out of 14 million people that's immune to it. He's a carrier, and he goes around just wreaking havoc because he's got the damn Ebola virus. It's fantastic. You just need to stop whatever you're doing and go watch it. It's great. I give it a 9 out of 10. Loved it. I've seen it before, but I think it's fantastic. Great stuff. Yes, it's Hong Kong produced, inspired by Shaw Brothers, I think predominantly produced some just fantastic movies, and this is just one of them. Next up, I watched a film that I'm ashamed to say I'd never seen before, and that's Blade, 1996. Wesley Snipes. I watched this on HBO Max. Never seen it. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the comic book superhero movies. I mean, I find it to be very scripted, very predictable, and very. It's hard to get into the film or the characters because you just know that there's certain rules that are never going to be broken. Your hero's never going to die, no matter how difficult or precarious the circumstances. That's just not going. And then you're going to get the big battle scene between the protagonist and the villain at the end. No matter how the rest of it plays out. But I just don't find there any tension in these films, and they tend to be overly long as well. So a little bit of comic book movies goes a real long way with me. This one's no exception. Wesley Snipes plays this vampire hunter, and he is chasing this vampire cult group led by Udo Kier and another vampire who's played by, I forget the guy that played him, but Wesley Snipes has actually got vampire blood in him, and he has to take an antidote to keep from actually fully turning. It's a fun film, but like I say, it's very much, you can all these superhero movies, you can pretty much, the script has got a very defined sequence of events, which leads up to the big climactic battle between the two key protagonists. And nobody that's really important to the movie ever gets hurt, or even though they're put in all these precarious situations. Yeah, it's just mindless kind of time waster, I guess is what I would say. Anyway, I give it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't horrible. It's not something I would rewatch. I doubt I'm even going to watch Blade 2. I mean, it's okay. I thought Wesley Snipes' martial arts. He obviously did some work on that because he kicked some ass. Next up is Crypt of the Vampire. This is from the Christopher Lee collection from Severin. Now, this is a Karnstein story. And of course, we had a lot of those back in the 60s. But this one is an Italian film from 64, directed by Camillo Mastroianni. And I think that this is an excellent, excellent Gothic film. Chris Lee plays like the cousin of the Karnsteins, and he's a count, and he seeks the help of a doctor to help his sick daughter. The nurse believes that, of course, the spirit of Carmilla has possessed this girl. Very Gothic, very moody, atmospheric piece. Also very talky and kind of slow. So this is a very niche film for audiences that there's not a lot of gore. There's no big payoff. I mean, it's just a slow burn type film. I give it a 6 out of 10. Not one of my all-time favorites, but it's still a decent film. It's just a little bit talky, a little bit slow, but it absolutely makes up for that with atmosphere and mood. Good story. So that's going to do it for day 25, and I'll be back. Appreciate you watching.